and that's moved by Tim Scandra, seconded by Phil Clearwater. Strengthening Communities Grants Review to the LTP.
Yes, so I mean, simply put, that over the last decade, the discretionary funding for community boards that goes to our community groups has been cut. And I know that the current financial environment for the council isn't particularly rosy, but over the next decade, I hope that we can increase that funding in the LTP back to what it was before the cuts started, because we get so in our groups who are active and run on shoestring budgets, and I certainly think a move towards more high trust funding would be excellent as well.
Yeah, I think the wording of this needs to be just reflecting earlier discussions that we had, which is that that this recommendation be referred to the consideration of the long-term plan. Yeah, so just leave the recommendation as it is, but just say that the motion that we're moving is that the community board's recommendation is referred to the council's consideration of the LTP. It means that we're not tying our hands, we're not making a decision on it, but it's a perfectly valid way to raise an issue that you want us to have on the agenda, and given the timing of the next set of considerations after the annual plan, it's very good timing indeed.
Cool. Thank you.
So I'll put that motion. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. That's carried. And Part B, moved by Phil Clearwater, seconded Tim Scandra. Is there any other issue in there that you'd like to raise?
I just wanted to raise that there needs to be an easy process for people who want to start community gardens. And they need to work with I can't remember the name of the organisation, but there is Just Dirt, but there's also another group that tries to work with all the community gardens and support them. At the moment, the process is not easy, and it should be. And also we know where there is risks of contamination of ground now, so it should be even easier. And I don't understand why it's so difficult. We get people saying, "Oh, let's do this," and then they encounter layers of barriers to doing so, and it should be easy. Yeah.
But I don't think you'll find anyone around this table that disagrees with you, and that's why we wrote the words "can do" into the new Chief Executive's contract.
So for a process for that to happen, there's a community group who specialise in the area of edible gardens and edible fruits. They're making a submission to the Environmental Committee at our next meeting in 2 weeks' time. So we'll look at a process to ensure that, in fact, it's straightforward. Vicky might want to comment too.
For you, Leanne, there's the report on the whole food forest concept is coming to the Environmental Committee on the 20th, and the ability for people to be able to do edible trees, gardens, whatever, is part of that. So, yeah.
It's great news.
Yep, that's great. And I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. I think after the visit from Jim Deers and having looked at what they've done in Seattle, it's extraordinary that the amount of energy that you can get from a matching approach. So instead of, communities having the council come in to set up a community gardens, it's actually, matching the resource with, support, professional support from our people that are involved in our gardens, etc. And then also linking in some financial support as well, matching it with the community support. So I just love the idea. I think we can be doing heaps of this. So
last time our board got a memo about a proposed community garden, we had no less than 20 reasons why not.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Can you send me a list? Can you send me that memo?
Yes.
I'd love to see it, because I tell the story of the Fendleton one, because I've gone to a community gardens meeting over Easter last year, and I heard the people from Fendleton tell the story about what they went through to get their community garden set up. and it was just such a set of traumatic, you know, sort of interchanges that I thought, oh well, you know, at least it must have been worth it in the end. And I drove past it when I was on a tiki tour with the community board before the election last year, and we saw these. I mean, there were literally three or four, you know, raised garden, you know, just really small, tiny part of this, almost like a pocket park. So it's a tiny part of this little park, and it was like they'd gone through all of this trouble for this, but it was worth it because of the sign. The sign said, working bee here every Saturday at 10 o'clock, and that's the community coming together. That's what makes it worthwhile.
I have to say that the list which Paul is referring to, I didn't realise gardening was so dangerous.
Well, actually, that's personally why I stay away from it. That's right. But anyway, so I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. Those opposed say no. Carried. Thank you. Sorry? No, well, we're on to the next one. Spreydon Heathcote. Again, this is councillor